Hey everyone, so thanks for joining me. We have Sea of Textures that I'm working with for you today. So you get this special little sneak peek of new stuff before you can actually buy it. Just barely though. You're going to be able to get this stuff in just a matter of days. So for the sneak peek, I am going to show you everything that is in the Sea of Textures suite. So it has this great stamp set here. It has some really great textures. I mean, that's kind of the focus of this is textures and under the sea. So we also have some coral and some seaweed and this cute little octopus. The stamp sets has a set of coordinating dies. This is what it cuts out. So there is this octopus here that cuts out the stamp, and this one cuts out the large coral stamp that's in the set as well. And the rest of these are just extras to use for some fun dimension and texture and just some fun elements. So we have some different coral and seaweed. And this fun netting, I love this one here. The sand dollars are lots of fun, and they also cut out some great little flower centers. And this little fish cutout here that does these extra little fish that save these for confetti. They're great for that. So you can get this stamp set and the dies in a bundle and save 10%, or you can buy them individually. That's up to you. The bundle makes a lot of sense though. So I'm going to move those off to the side and show you. Here is the Night of Navy Baker's Twine. That's part of this suite as well. And it's great for tying little bows. These are the Tranquil Textures Sprinkles. And it has some really great beads. Can we get the focus here? All right, there it goes. Some great beads and just little stones and gems in here. Well, not really gems, but they're really fun and really bright. They have some in browns. There's some blue ones, and some that look like Island Indigo. So really pretty and great for shaker cards. I'm gonna make sure you close it up really well because they might pop open and get everywhere. And this is just some of the designer series paper. So it comes in a pack of 12 by 12 paper, and this I just cut down to 6 by 6. And you get 2 sheets of each of 6 designs. So you can see them here. This designer series paper in this entire suite has a range of colors that they use in this. And it is Balmy Blue, which is a brand new color, Crumb Cake, Fresh Fig, as you can see it here, Mint Macaron, which is a returning in color, Night of Navy, Soft Sea Foam, which is a new color, Tranquil Tide, and Whisper White. So those are the colors used within this designer series paper. And quite a few of the cards I'm going to show you today will have these elements or these colors used as well. So here's one side, and here's the other side. So you can see the other prints. Here's that Balmy Blue, Soft Sea Foam, and Mint Macaron. So those are some really fun colors there. And you'll see the Tranquil Tide, and the Night of Navy, and Fresh Fig over here, and the Crumb Cake in this one. So let me show you some of the things that I've made with this suite. There's quite a few things. And I'll be honest, I'm not an ocean person. So at first I was not super excited about this bundle, but as I started working with it, I really loved it, and it's been a lot of fun. So here's one card. It's using, let me see if I can grab it here. Here we go. Using the designer series paper on the back, and it has some soft sea foam for the octopus and some fresh fig for the netting and the sand dollar in the front, Night of Navy for the coral here and for the mat, and Tranquil Tide for this bit of coral here, the greeting, and the back layer of the card. So just some fun layering and some textures with this one, and the colors were just from what's in the designer series paper, and they just kind of went together nicely and made a kind of a light card, really. Even though it has quite a few dark colors in it, you really focus in on the soft sea foam throughout the entire card. Here's another one that uses the Thanks for Reaching Out, and I used the Balmy Blue designer series paper pattern for this one, and just stamped the seaweed and Tranquil Tide, and I stamped it and then stamped it off. So with that, I'd ink it and do it one time and then again lower without re-inking it. So it gives it kind of that multi-tone color there. The large coral pieces are in Fresh Fig and the smaller ones are Night of Navy. And then along the top in Crumb Cake, I did the netting stamp. So there's the netting stamp and there's the netting die cut, which is lots of fun. And I also have the Night of Navy Baker's Twine. And with this one here, I just punched it out with a circle and I put some Fresh Fig on it. So this one is just a simple card really, but it has some really fun textures and dimension with it. This one here, I had to make a shaker card. And I just really love this designer series paper. So it's just Fresh Fig and Night of Navy. And with this one here, you're going to use a larger circle die and you're going to use that one to cut out your frame, well, that I did in Fresh Fig, your window sheet, and also the back layer. That's the Whisper White that I stamped on. And so you're going to use that large circle or whatever shape you want to use. I used a circle on this one to cut all of this out. And then when you're cutting out your top frame, you also use a smaller one inside to cut the actual frame shape out with. The dimensional strips are great to use with this one. I can't even think of their actual name right now. Sorry about that. And they're actually pretty thick. That makes plenty of room for all of your sprinkles on the inside. And so I actually used 2 dimensionals stacked on top of each other to do my octopus here to make it stand up quite a bit. It's lots of fun. This You're One of a Kind fit perfectly. It took up just the right amount of space without being overwhelmed by the sprinkles inside and a little bit of the Night of Navy twine down here. This one was fun. It's a slide out card. And again, you're one of a kind and the octopus just slides across. And this one has some soft sea foam for the seaweed. There it is. Some Balmy Blue for the coral, and I used Balmy Blue cardstock as well as some Crumb Cake. And the octopus is stamped in Crumb Cake too. And I just used some of the sprinkles along to look kind of like bubbles and little stones like you'd find in there. So that was fun. I'm just going to keep doing it. Slide it in, slide it out. This one is using some basic gray and the new Blueberry Bushel. And it has the vellum from the, I can't think of what it's called, but it uses that fun new vellum that you can use to color quite often. And I just stamped the smoky slate actually in the netting pattern along the bottom here. And the Blueberry Bushel is stamped and then stamped off again to do the seaweed across. And I used the fun seaweed die here to cut out some in basic gray. And Have a Wonderful Adventure is just punched there and put on. The a better way to do your vellum with your adhesive, because you can see mine showing through a little bit, is either use glue dots and do it very carefully, or just put the adhesive behind other labels that'll be covering up your adhesive. So that's something to try there. This is one that I made for my presentation at Onstage. It's using the soft sea foam and some of the Balmy Blue and some very vanilla. So this was actually cut out with the stitched shapes and then just the smaller shape layering squares cut on the inside to make a frame in the ruffled embossing folder. The flowers are made with, it's stuck there, made with the inside of the sand dollar. So what you have here, I actually saved up and I cut like 6 of them per flower, and same with the small ones. That way it gave me lots of layers to make all these petals with, and just layered them on top of each other, fluffed them a bit, and then put a pearl for the center on the inside. I like to find another way to use dies except just as how they're intended. Another way I did that was with this one, and this was also for my onstage presentation, but this is one of the large coral pieces. So it's this one cut out like 15 times. So I had lots of fun. I used up some of my scraps and cut out 15 of these flowers and just layered them all over each other like you do when you're making roses. I just did multiple layers and just kept scrunching them to make them tall and look kind of more like a mum in a way. Or and this is the soft seafoam again with the netting over it. And the thanks for reaching out in Balmy Blue. And just one of the little pizza boxes. And so it has the netting texture stamped across it on all 4 sides as well. So it makes a really fun flower, and you can just use any leaf that you want from any punch or die set that you have, and just have fun layering them up together. Move that out of the way. Another fun thing that I did was this cute little votive lantern. So this is just a piece of vellum. It's cut at 5 inches by 3.5, and so the 5 goes around it this way. And I just stamped the seaweed in Tranquil Tide. The small little coral stamp was with the Fresh Fig, Night of Navy again. And I used the soft sea foam to do this fun stamp here, to do that one all over it. And it gave it a really nice, just very subtle light texture across it. And then with some of the Night of Navy Baker's Twine along it to add a little extra to it. Let's turn it on. It's a little stubborn. But you can see it kind of flickering there. And it's shining through. After you stamp this, you do need to set it aside and let it dry so that your ink isn't coming off of the vellum. The vellum is not a very porous material to stamp on, so it takes it a little bit to dry. And you don't want to smear everything as you're going along. And just a little bit of fast fuse on my back seam there, and it was perfect. You can see a little bit where my finger smudged it because I was being impatient. But I thought that was just really cute, and it's a nice thing that you can set either in, if you have a beach-themed bathroom, if you want to have a little light on for when guests come in, or even just in a bedroom. It can be a really sweet little light just sitting there, not putting off too much light to keep people awake, but just a really soft, gentle flicker of light. And it's just made really cute with some vellum and stamping. Now, most of the time when we're talking about the ocean, we end up going to it. So I made this scrapbook page. So here it is. I'll show you the bottom half in a second. But this is just some very vanilla 12 by 12 and some soft sea foam 8.5 by 11. And I cut out the word beach from Balmy Blue with the large letter dies. And I used some designer series paper along the bottom. So this is that soft sea foam textured paper that we have. Let's see if we can find its piece in here real quick. It's going to be on the other side, isn't it? So this one here for along the bottom, and then the other side of it is the top strip here. So you can see that fun there. So this is just a 1 inch by 12 inch, and this is a 2 inch by 12 inch strip here. And I just put some of the burlap ribbon across it there. And you can see my little decal right here has the crumb cake netting die cut, and then I cut out 5 of the sand dollars. I kept the centers inside because, well, I looked them up on Google and sand dollars have their centers in them. And also kept it from looking messy with all of the holes shining through. And I just have one popped up on the dimensional here. So it's a really pretty, just light page, and it's perfect for just adding a few pictures of when you go to the beach. Now, the last thing I want to show you is this cute bag. It's kind of like a treat bag. It does seal up on the top. It has this fun tag on it, and it's just made with some designer series paper. I went to town with this designer series paper. I was using it up. And so I'm going to show you how I made this treat bag, but I'm going to do it with a different paper so we can see another fun design. So it's really fun because you get to see both sides of the designer series paper when you do this, and you just add, like I said, a fun tag to it, and there it is. Alright, so let me show you. So you will need your scoring tool. So get this in here so we can see it. There we go. Trying to figure out where to put everything so everyone can see all the important parts. And then grab the necessary tools to go with it. especially our designer series paper. And like I said, I'm going to be using a different color just so we can have lots of fun seeing the different patterns. So I'm going to be using this polka dot one, and it's got the balmy blue on the other side. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score at the 1 inch mark all the way down, and then at the 10 inch mark. So we'll have a 2 inch piece and a 1 inch bit here. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are going to rotate it. Just one turn like that. So it's like 90 degrees. So now we're going to score at 2 inches, 5 3/4, 7 3/4, and then at 11 1/2. So we've got our score marks in here. And I got this idea for this tree bag from Poodles in UK. So thank you for the idea. Okay, so this is going to be the top of my bag. She actually did hers as a 2 inch top and a 2 inch bottom, but I wanted just a 1 inch. So you can actually adjust how big of a top layer you have. Oh my goodness, even with a score line, I went off of my line here. That takes talent. Okay, let's see. Did I stay on my score line for the rest of it? There. I guess I didn't press very hard on my scoring tool. That's new. All right, so we have our 1 inch bit here, and this is the top. So I'm going to flip this over so we can do our 2 inch one. And hopefully we'll get it along that one too. This one we're going to turn the other way. So this is going to be the bottom like that. So it'll look like this here. Part of the reason I was going off here is because I was kind of folding this against the score mark. And so that's why it was giving me a little bit of trouble there. Okay, we're going to flip it back over. And we're going to fold our sides. So here's one of them. If you have your bone folder handy, you'll want to use that there. And this bottom bit here it's not folded right now. You can just see where it's supposed to be folded. And this one here. So there's going to be four folds along the sides. And then this last one here to make that 1/2 inch flap. All right, so now that we've got that, you can see our little score or fold lines here. We're going to take this little piece out here. I'm going to try not to knock all my stuff off of the table. All right, I've got all my stuff set up here all ready to go. And it's kind of all over. So just going to cut this out here. All right. And you can also cut like this off here if you want. I don't know if I actually want to or not. What I am going to do though is I'm going to stick this down because I don't want that moving later. Okay, so since that's done, we're going to cut these flaps here so that it actually makes the flaps for the bottom of our box, or our bag actually. It's a bag. Little treat bag. Actually, it can hold some pretty big treats. I'm excited. You use up the whole piece of paper so you don't have to do any funny, you don't have to do any cutting and trying to remember, oh, what side do I score this on now that I've cut it? So it's really awesome that it uses the full 12 by 12 paper. And then this print is just so much fun. I mean, who wouldn't like getting a bag made with this? All right, so now that we've cut the flaps, all those are cut, I'm going to put some adhesive along here, and then we're going to fold our bag up. So right along the edge. When you're doing bags and boxes, you either want to use fast fuse or tear and tape. Snail is not going to be strong enough to hold it. And if you can, you want to get along the very edge of your fold. All right, so I'm going to flip it so that this is here. And I'm going to just lay this down on top of it, lining up score lines for a nice smooth bag. Now it's kind of pulling a little here just because of the extra layers, but whenever you open it up, it lays nice and smooth. So don't worry about that if it's trying to like bubble a little. See, isn't that pretty? And it, you know, it just looks really cool. I love it. All right, so this is where my fold is. So this is going to be the back of my bag, just because I don't like the folds in the front. So now as I'm folding up my bottom flaps, I'll put my sides in. And here's my back, so I'm going to fold that one in first. Then I'm going to put adhesive along here with my fast fuse to close up the box on the bottom, or the bag on the bottom. It has a boxy bottom. Okay. Bags and boxes is one of my favorite things to make with designer series paper because you use it up. It's just not sitting as this pile of unused paper in your corner of your craft room or on your shelf. It gets used up. All right, so that's all sealed shut, and this is what it's looking like. Isn't that cute? Now to close at the top, you're going to just kind of pinch the sides in a little bit, and it'll do like that, like a milk carton. And it'll kind of gusset itself here on the side, no problem, and it'll lay like that. So now we're going to tie it shut. With this one, I didn't want to use the white. I wanted to use the navy. Oops, I've got the tape on it. The navy baker's twine. So I'm going to kind of pull some out. That way I have enough to tie with. And I'm going to wrap it around 2 times. So here's one. Go around again to make number 2. And now I'm going to tie them. Pull it tight and tie a bow. There, just like that. And then adjust it until it looks how you want. See, I wanted mine to be a little bit bigger like that. Now we're gonna trim off the end here. I like to tie mine while it's still attached to the spool. Ooh, a little messy there. That way you can make sure your tails are even. You can keep adjusting things so it looks how you want. And it helps you save quite a bit of your ribbon or twine when you do it that way. Okay, so now we're going to make the tag. So I'm just going to slide this off to the side here so we've got some space to work. All right, so our tag, we're going to use the scallop tag topper punch and a 2-inch by 5.5-inch piece of fresh fig. Slide that in, punch the top, slide it out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the netting on there. The other one, I did the texture along the back of the tag. I don't want to do that with this one. I don't want it to be too overwhelmed with different textures from the polka dots. The other one had some very similar textures. This one, however, I don't want to overdo. So that'll be like that. And we're going to punch a navy tag out with the punch there. And then we're going to do the same on some Whisper White after we stamp our greeting. So using Night of Navy again. And we're going to use the one that says, have a wonderful adventure. So this will be something like a great thing to give to a graduate around this time of year, or anyone else that's achieved something and they're moving on to do something else. About to go embark on a new adventure, whether they just bought a new house, got a new job, any kind of things like that where it's going to be something new and you want it to be wonderful. There. So we've punched that, but we want our blue label to stick out a little bit more. So we're going to cut that in half and then layer it behind our other one. And I'm going to show you how I did that so that the netting was showing through between layers. So it's cut in half. What we're going to do now is we're going to put our adhesive on the back of this label. And you have to do it kind of funny to catch all those edges. There. So now we're just going to stick this straight onto our netting bit. And it's okay that it has a little bit still stuck in it. When you're cutting out the netting though, be sure to save all these extra little bits because they're perfect for confetti or the insides of shaker cards. It's really great for that. So I'm just going to stick this directly onto my netting. And it's not going to be perfect. I mean, it looks great kind of all over everywhere. And then on this side, I'm going to add my adhesive here. And we'll be able to see it from over here popping up behind the netting. And just kind of eyeball it through what's there so that you can see it coming through. It's not going to pop off on the sides. It's going to be just along the top and the bottom. So we're going to do that again. Put some more adhesive along the bottom of our Truly Tailored tag. There it is. I think that's it. I can't remember any of the names today. All right. And then right here. There. So it gives it a little extra fun because you see a lot of that netting shining through, but you still see a bit of that blue mat behind it. So from here, now we're just going to put adhesive along the back of our tag, but not along the netting because we don't want it to be sticky through it. And it's going to be kind of hanging off on the sides, which is totally cool. Right there. Some extra twine to tie it on with and just kind of eyeball it. So it's however much you want. Put it through the end. And you can definitely do some more stamping to the tag. Like I said, I just didn't because I didn't want it to lose too much focus here because there's just so much on the bag. It doesn't need to be a crazy tag. And we're just going to put this right through this here. My bow's in the way. Okay, there it is. Got it. And just tie the top of it off. Maybe. Let's see here. Fingernails say no. There it is. Oh wait, got it. Cool. So just tie it on like that. And there's a cute bag with your designer series paper. And you're using a couple of the stamps and the dies from the suite. Sweet. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for being a part of our sneak peek. I hope you enjoyed the Sea of Textures suite. Be sure to add that to your wish list and your shopping list so that you can enjoy it too. Like I said, it's not just for the beachy people, though if you know somebody that loves going to the beach or going deep sea diving, snorkeling, anything like that, they will love anything that you make with this for them. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope you had a great time. Have a good one. Bye.